How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Thunderbolts. That's right, the newest MCU movie just came out this weekend, directed by Jake Schreier. It stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, Julia Louis Dreyfus, and in this movie, a group of anti-heroes come together to at first be eliminated by Valentina, but then they work together to stop this big threat, which is in the form of Sentry. And this movie, like a lot of other MCU movies, was supposed to come out, but then got delayed due to other stuff happening, strikes and other things. And I remember when this movie was announced back in 2022, I really wasn't all that excited for it. Um, it was at a time where the decline of the MCU was very noticeable. It was right after the summer in which we had gotten She-Hulk and Thor: Love and Thunder, and I think within the last few years, the MCU has proven to be this roller coaster post Endgame, where you get some really good, promising, great projects, whether it's shows like WandaVision and Loki, or movies like Spider Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Deadpool Wolverine. I mean, you've got some stuff that's just good, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Hawkeye. Mediocre, average to not good stuff. And while I didn't hate Captain America Brave New World, it was the definition of a mixed bag MCU movie. And so you don't really know what you're going to get with Thunderbolts. And another thing, while I have praised movies like Spider-Man No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Deadpool and Wolverine, those are the MCU movies you expect to be the great ones, the ones that are going to be crowd pleasers. And whether you think they're phenomenal or just good, you know you're going to be entertained by them, whether it's nostalgia or the conclusion of a story that you love. And as far as surprises in the MCU goes, I feel like the last real surprise we got with a character that we weren't expecting to be that standout, that standout movie just in general was Shang-Chi. It was a character that only if you are a diehard fan of the comics you're going to know about, but his movie was great. It was a great movie. I can't wait to see what Destin Daniel Craig, or the director of the movie, does with Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Now, with Thunderbolts, though, the trailers looked promising, but it's a matter of, is this going to be like Suicide Squad for the MCU? Because there was that Suicide Squad vibe, those comparisons. Is Yelena going to be like Harley Quinn? Is John Walker going to be like Peacemaker? Is Valentina going to be like Amanda Waller? And I know these are characters in the comics, and obviously they're a lot different than the characters I mentioned in the comics, but will the MCU do that thing and try to make them similar, or will they make them stand out? And it's safe to say that Thunderbolts made these characters stand out. Thunderbolts was a great surprise of a movie. This is one of the best post Endgame movies. Is it the best movie since Endgame? No, but it's definitely in that top five with No Way Home, Guardians Volume 3, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Shang-Chi. And the thing that I think makes this movie work so well is what I feel like a lot of the MCU movies post Endgame have lacked. And even some of the just good to okay movies in the first three phases of the MCU back in the Infinity Saga. And that's character moments and themes that go with these characters. This movie touches upon themes of depression, regret, ghosts of your past, and that primarily surrounds the character of Yelena, played by Florence Pugh. She does such a great job with this performance. And Yelena, a complicated character that goes through a lot, whether she's making blunt statements, being very sarcastic, making a few quips, or having an emotional breakdown because something's happening. I mean, she's getting upset, getting angry. Florence Pugh just captures every emotion of Yelena so well. And this is a character that I'm very disappointed the MCU has not done more with since she's appeared. She's only been in three projects, including this. And she was the best part of the 2021 Black Widow movie. her episodes in Hawkeye were my favorite episodes. I enjoyed the show Hawkeye overall, but I think it really picked up steam when she first appeared, and then as she kept appearing, it was just getting better for me, in my opinion. But this is a character, and she was actually one of the few characters I was excited for in this movie. But probably my second favorite performance of this movie is David Harbour as the Red Guardian, who provides a lot of comedic relief, but as well as a lot of heart in this movie. And I think these two, they're just a funny duo together. Like, I enjoyed David Harbour as well in Black Widow, and it just continues on in this movie. Now, you also have the character Bucky in this movie, once again played by Sebastian Stan. He's now a congressman, and he has an idea of what these characters are going through. He's basically the unofficial leader of this group and the sane voice of this group, I would say. This movie also brings back John Walker from Falcon Winter Soldier, Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I have to say, before I actually get into those, one thing I do appreciate about the MCU lately, especially with Captain America Brave New World, one of the few things I do appreciate with that movie is at least they're answering unanswered questions. Like, what happened to some of these characters? Why we haven't seen them when we know they're still out there? Because it's like with the character Ghost, we thought they were going to try to cure her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but then Scott Lang got stuck in the quantum realm. Everyone else got snapped away. That was with him before he went to the quantum realm. He got stuck in there for 5 years. And one of the things that went through my mind after Endgame is, so what's going to happen with Ghost? It was never answered in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Well, we know she's still around. But yeah, those characters reappear as well. And I would say, like, John Walker, Wyatt Russell does a really good job. And we explore a little bit of him, what's happened to him after his disgraceful run as Captain America at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and what he's been through. Although I wish that could have been more explored. Same with Ghost. I feel like there was a lot with Ghost you could have explored as well, but they didn't. The main focus, obviously, being Yelena, and also the character Bob, who is going to be the character Sentry. And this character, played by Lewis Pullman, I mean, like, Lewis Pullman did such a great job with this character. And at first, you see this guy Bob, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And everyone's just wondering, "Oh, what's this guy doing here?" But then you find out he becomes this character Sentry. And the way Sentry was handled, this was one of the concerns I had going in, because I know Sentry is this super powerful character in the comics. And the MCU, based on the roller coaster trajectory that it's been on, you could easily get this character wrong. But they actually, I think, got the character right. And this was a super overpowered villain done right, in my opinion. I feel like that's a rarity to see. We get these super powerful villains, but they just feel like big threats, but really no character to them. It's very rare you get that nowadays. I mean, take the character Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. Guardians of the Galaxy, fantastic movie, one of my favorite MCU movies, but I feel like if Ronan was just more fleshed out, had more development, I think Guardians of the Galaxy could be even better than it is. The character Taskmaster is in this movie as well, but completely wasted. That's one of the few negatives I have of this movie, that character got wasted, and I wish Ghost could have gone explored more. But I feel like that's just the rest of my negatives. Really, I really don't have anything else negative to say. So, Julia Louis-Dreyfus plays Valentina, and this character has been set up since Falcon and Winter Soldier and Black Widow. We've seen her a few times. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed her performance in here as well. And I know I feel like if there is gonna be a comparison to Suicide Squad, it's gonna be her compared to Viola Davis's Amanda Waller. Now, I'll say this. I understand, I can see the similarities, but there's also the differences. Like, Amanda Waller is just stone cold, got that stone cold grumpy face, like, look on her face all the time. She's not playing around. Where Valentina, she's a lot more like condescending, always smirking, thinking, "Hey, I'm ahead of the game." And then she gets really annoyed when she no longer has the power, or when someone else holds the power over her. But yeah, they definitely are differences, but I can also understand the similarities. The action, I thought the action was handled very well. I think the gritty tone worked, but it was also balanced out pretty well with the humor provided perfectly well by David Harbour. The third act, without spoiling it, I really enjoyed the third act of this movie. And it's where you really see this team really coming together to face this big, powerful threat, as well as also some of these characters exploring their pasts. And to me, I feel like this is what the MCU should have been overall after Endgame. Okay, maybe not with every character, but I feel like with some characters, I feel like this was the tone you should have just gone with. I'm not saying you have to make it look like a Zack Snyder DC movie because I feel like this is probably going to be closer to the tone that the DCU was going with until Justice League just blew up in everyone's face. But this like tone where yeah, the world's a darker place because the Avengers are no longer around. There's threats that we don't know about, whether they're from the multiverse or from outer space or even in our own backyard. But also just having that good balance of humor as well with it. I feel like Thunderbolts is what the MCU should have probably became and should probably embrace more. At least some movies and some characters. But I just doesn't feel like they're ever going to, or hopefully they do. I don't know. But thank goodness this movie turned out great because this is one of those key movies before Avengers Doomsday. Because, spoiler alert, not really a spoiler, it was announced back in end of March, beginning of April, that a lot of these characters are going to be in Avengers Doomsday. And obviously, we need to have characters that we're going to enjoy and like to work in Avengers Doomsday. And luckily they do. But overall, with Thunderbolts, to me, this is one of the top 5 MCU movies post Endgame. If I was going to rank it, I would probably say Spider Man No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, and I should rewatch Shang-Chi, but maybe I feel like this over Shang-Chi, but those movies are excellent. So that's probably how I would rank the top 5 best movies of Phase 4 and 5. And I'm looking forward to Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday. I'm actually more excited now for Avengers Doomsday, but hopefully Fantastic Four First Steps delivers as well. But overall, with Thunderbolts, to me, the character moments, the banter, the revisiting of our pasts, dealing with depression and regrets, the action, the villains, the characters, I think worked really well. Outside of a few characters feeling like wasted potential, this was a great movie. And I'm glad that this worked because to me, we need more movies like this to work. Yeah, I would love to see more movies like No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I love nostalgia. I enjoy fan service, but I also want to see movies that don't need to rely see more movies that don't need to rely on fan service. Movies like Shang-Chi that feel fresh and unique to the MCU. Let's get more of that. I want to get that feeling back that I got when watching Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy back in the mid 2010s. I want to get that feeling back when watching those movies, but with new characters or characters that have been in the MCU but haven't had their moment to shine yet. Because to be fair, these characters, with the exception of Sentry, have been in the MCU before, but outside of Bucky and Yelena, and yeah, I'll say Red Guardian, I haven't really cared for the other characters. So overall, I'm gonna give Thunderbolts an A minus. I think this is a great MCU movie. I think it's an MCU movie that you should give a fair shot to. It's definitely one of the better ones, and I think hopefully this sets a new consistent theme for the MCU going forward. I mean, Daredevil Born Again was a great first season. That was great. Now we had this movie coming out. Hopefully, Fantastic Four First Steps delivers, and then next year we got Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day. And oh yeah, one thing I want to mention before this video ends, we finally learned who buys Avengers Tower. That was a question we've had since Spider-Man Homecoming. It's been revealed. I mean, we've seen it in the trailers, but yeah, that question was answered as well. Thank goodness. thank goodness the MCU is answering questions that we've had for over a decade. I mean, it took them 17 years to answer the questions about what happened with certain characters in the Incredible Hulk. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Thunderbolts? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what movies do you think were the best in the MCU post Endgame? Let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't already. Please share this with someone that enjoys the MCU. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.